Good evening and welcome to Sunset News on this Genocide Remembrance Day. As usual, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather, sports, and so much more. I'm your host, Glenora Shipura. Starting us off in the news tonight, the Ministry of Industries, Mines and Energy will tomorrow announce Namibia's fuel price review for June 2026, while also bringing the nation on the status of fuel supply security amid ongoing geopolitical tensions. According to a media invitation issued by the ministry, Minister Modestus Amutse will formally communicate the government's decision on the latest fuel price review during a media briefing scheduled for Friday at NBC Oshakati. The briefing comes at a time when global fuel markets continue to experience volatility linked to international geopolitical developments, raising concerns over supply chains and pricing pressures in many countries, including Namibia. Namibia's current fuel pump prices for May 2026 are set at 23 Namibian dollars and 48 cents per liter for petrol, ULP 95, and 28 Namibian dollars and 26 cents per liter for diesel 50 ppm, and 28 Namibian dollars and 36 cents per liter for diesel 10 ppm. In our next story, Vice President Lucia Vedboer has called on Namibians to reject tribalism and remain united as the country commemorates Genocide Remembrance Day in Enana this afternoon. Addressing the national commemoration in the Ohangona region, Vedboer said the remembrance of the 1904 to 1908 genocide against the Ovaherero and Namba people should strengthen national unity and deepen the country's commitment to justice, reconciliation, and nation building. She said the genocide and resistance against German colonial rule formed the foundation of Namibia's later liberation struggle, linking the sacrifices of the past to the country's eventual independence. Namibia today commemorated Genocide Remembrance Day. The governor of Shikoto region, Saki Kathinti, underscored that the most profound tribute to those who endured hardships between 1904 and 1908 is not division but unity. He firmly stated that any efforts aimed at dividing tribes, whether regional, political, or racial, should be rejected. During the commemorative event, Vaterera Kashideu, the former regional councillor of Oshinene constituency, narrated events related to German genocide against Namibian communities between 1904 and 1908. The ceremony took place at the famous tree known for its painful history, where many Ovaherero and Ovambanderu people were hanged by colonial rulers in the late 1800s. Let's have a look.
As we gather here in remembrance, we must also speak clearly to the future. The greatest tribute we can pay to those who suffered is not division, it is unity. We must reject every attempt to divide us along tribal, regional, racial, or political lines. Namibia belongs to all of us. Our history might carry painful chapters, but our future must be built on solidarity and a shared national purpose. We are one people, one nation, with one destiny. The blood, the tears, and sacrifices for our ancestors were not for a fragmented Namibia. They were for a united, peaceful, and prosperous Namibia, where every citizen has dignity and equal opportunity. As leaders and citizens alike, we carry the responsibility to protect that unity. We must teach our children the truth about our history, while also teaching them the importance of reconciliation.
It simply translated, it means the tree should be removed. Why should it be removed? it is because after the atrocities, after 1904 to 1908, the souls that were here started murmuring and mumbling, so that people took note to say our souls are here and we haven't rested yet. That is why back in the days, oral history has it that people started noticing unusual events at this very same place here. It's unfortunate that I had pictures. I remember I had many tours that I guided people during my time as a councillor. But then I had pictures of the very same tree when it was young, when people were hanged on it. We were given by a German, neighboring German somewhere in the farms, to say, I have these pictures of the very same tree which is the for today. So, what happened is after 1908, when this tree started remembering and events started happening, people came together, and that's when they realized this is the very same tree where people were hanged during that time. And remember, the German troops were very, very armed to the teeth. They had all the weapons. The Herero Banderus never had any weapons. They just saw people coming in and started, attacking them, and they had to flee with their animals, children, and wives.
In our next story, only one of Trans-Namib's 17 locomotives bought to modernize the country's rail network in 2017 is currently operational. A parliamentary oversight report has revealed, exposing the depth of the crisis facing the state-owned railway operator. The finding forms part of a wider report by Parliament's Standing Committee on Transport, Infrastructure and Housing, which estimates that Trans-Namib requires roughly 1.47 billion Namibian dollars to address critical rail infrastructure, locomotive and maintenance challenges. According to the report, the remaining 16 SSD locomotives are out of service due to technical failures, shortages of spare parts, and inadequate transfer of technical expertise. The committee warned that deteriorating railway tracks, aging equipment, and persistent operational shortcomings continue to undermine rail operations across the country. It further found that Trans-Namib faces an annual backlog of approximately 135 million Namibian dollars for locomotive maintenance and spare parts, while immediate maintenance requirements amount to about 40 million Namibian dollars per year. The report identified about 694 million Namibian dollars needed for the rehabilitation of the Sandvarhar-Bushelbroen railway section and another 600 million Namibian dollars for the proposed Aus-Luderitz sand-sheltered tunnel. Together with the maintenance backlog and immediate repair requirements, the identified cost amounts to around 1.47 billion Namibian dollars. Parliament conducted oversight visits between the 28th of August and the 1st of September 2023, while Trans-Namib was still working to unlock a 2.6 billion Namibian dollars funding package approved by the Development Bank of Namibia and the Development Bank of Southern Africa. The facility was earmarked for rolling stock acquisition and rehabilitation, workshop modernization, signaling upgrades, spare parts procurement, and broader operational improvements. Trans-Namib spent much of 2023 and 2024 meeting conditions attached to the funding before announcing in July 2024 that the requirements had been satisfied. Chief Executive Officer Desmond van Jaarsveld said at the time the funding would be used to acquire locomotives and multi-purpose wagons to rebuild freight capacity and improve operational performance. Only one of Trans-Namib's 17 modern locomotives is still running. In our next story, emerging filmmakers in Kavango East are benefiting from a free film making workshop in Rundu through the Filmmakers Association of Namibia's regionalization initiative aimed at decentralizing opportunities within the country's creative industry. Speaking during the training, FAN Programs Coordinator Georgina Likukela said the association is equipping aspiring and established filmmakers with free industry training, networking opportunities, and practical tools needed to build successful careers as actors, directors, and producers.
Of Namibia, and we are here as part of our regionalization event. So just a brief overview of the FAN Association. We are a member-based organization that is mandated to really represent the filmmakers on the ground. Our job is to empower the filmmakers, both aspiring and currently already in the industry, with opportunities within the industry, as well as also networking, as well as also collaboration within the industry. So the purpose of this visit is part of our regionalization initiative, where we decided to bring workshops to different regions as a part or as an attempt at decentralization of opportunities within the film industry. We wanted all filmmakers within the different regions to have access to information that allows them to train themselves, or rather be more acquainted with the information that they need to thrive within this industry. Whether you're an actor, whether you're a director, producer, we want to provide you with the information and the tools that you will need to start off your career basically within this industry. And so we decided to start with the Katima Mulilo in the Zambezi region, of course, and then also in Kavango region here in Rundu today.
All right, now that concludes our top stories. On the other side of the break, we get into our community talk.
Namibia is a land of movement, with waves that never stop reaching forward. Here, adventure is not something we search for. It is something we are born into. In every corner of this country, creativity rises, from artists, from athletes, from dreamers. And when the world comes to explore Namibia, they discover something extraordinary. Because when sport moves people, creativity moves ideas, and tourism moves the world toward us. Something powerful happens. A platform where movement meets imagination, where industries connect, where opportunity grows, where Namibia's next chapter begins. Welcome to the Creative Sport Tourism Expo. Exhibit, partner, experience. Creative Sport Tourism.
Getting into our community talk, Namibian Police Drug Law Enforcement Officer Warrant Maswahu has urged students and community members in Rundu to report drug dealers operating in their areas, assuring informers that their identities will be strictly protected, while valuable information leading to successful arrest could earn them financial rewards. Maswahu made the remarks during an awareness day organized by the Kavango East Regional Council in collaboration with Zelius Tutorial Center. The campaign brings together various stakeholders to provide awareness on drug abuse, crime prevention, mental health, and suicide prevention, while encouraging communities to take an active role in fighting substance abuse and crime. Let's take a look.
Officer, I will have to weigh the grains, and then I have to find how much is this thing worth. Then I will send I'll just have to send according to how I can see that you need to be paid.
Is it clear? Yes. Don't worry, you'll get a package. Any question? No question. Okay, she can just conclude.
Okay, if there are no questions there, I just want to tell you that drugs drugs is really bad, including the use of alcohol. When you use alcohol and drugs, when you abuse it, actually, let me use.
Up next, economic news, but first, a quick ad break. First up in our economic news, the Kunene-based Chakula Abattoir has received export approval from the Directorate of Veterinary Services and can now export Namibian beef products to African markets. According to a statement released by the Chakula Investment Group, the abattoir has been authorized to export frozen beef cuts and other approved meat products to selected African destinations, with the first shipment expected in June. The export milestone comes nearly 3 years after the company announced a $37 million investment in the construction of the privately operated abattoir in the Oshikondo area of the Kunene region. At the time, the company said the investment was expected to rise to $42 million and projected an annual slaughter capacity of 13,000 cattle and 24,000 small livestock once fully operational. The abattoir currently employs 59 people directly and supports around 60 indirect jobs. According to the company, it currently has the capacity to process about 120 tons of meat per month. Managing Director Nakashim Wino described the export approval as both a business and a personal milestone. Entering the livestock value chain as a black-owned company in a historically established sector had come with resistance and additional challenges, he said. For the company, the export approval is therefore not only a business milestone, but also a statement that Namibian-owned Black-led businesses can build, comply, compete, and create value in sectors where participation has not always been easy. The statement read that the company named Ghana, Nigeria, Angola, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Congo-Brazzaville amongst its targeted export destinations. In our next story, the third edition of the Invest in Africa Trade Expo and Business Summit 2026 is set to take place in Swakopmund at the center of the continental trade and investment discussions, with organizers aiming to connect African entrepreneurs and unlock opportunities under the African Continental Free Trade Area. The Expo and Business Summit is set to take place from Thursday until Saturday. Speaking during the Expo, African Economic Leadership Council co-founder Hendrik Hafeni said the event has grown significantly since its inception and reflects Namibia's growing role in Africa's economic transformation. "We are doing Namibia and the continent very proud," Hafeni said. He explained that the idea behind the expo was inspired by the implementation of the AFCFTA agreement in January 2021, which seeks to strengthen trade between African countries and create a single continental market. "We got inspired as the founders, secretariat and partners of the Africa Economic Leadership Council to promote intra-African trade and connect African entrepreneurs while at the same time promoting domestic investment in Namibia," he said. Hafeni highlighted Namibia's growing economic opportunities, including oil discoveries, tourism, agriculture, mining and green energy projects, saying these sectors continue to attract local and international interest. That concludes our economic news. We now swing over to the financial indicators. Getting into our financial indicators. On the commodities market, gold and copper went up while platinum and Brent crude oil went down. Brent crude oil trading at 0.08%, going for $96.15 per barrel. On the exchange rate, the Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 21.98, against the euro at 19.03, against the US dollar at 16.37, 2 Namibian dollars and 41 cents gets you 1 Chinese yuan. Getting into international news, at least 16 students have died in a fire at a boarding school in the Kenyan town of Gilgil, authorities confirmed on Thursday. At least 79 others were injured in the overnight blaze at the Utumishi Girls' School in central Kenya. The cause of the fire hasn't yet been established. Police say they're investigating whether safety regulations were followed. The fire started in the early hours of the morning in a dormitory building housing more than 200 students. The government-owned secondary school is managed and sponsored by the Kenya Police Service. Many of the students are daughters of police officers. School fires are common in Kenyan boarding schools, with some caused by arson and others by electrical faults. We'll now take a look at the weather predictions for tomorrow. The capital city can expect a minimum of 11 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 24 degrees Celsius with sunny weather conditions, while Katima Mulilo can expect a minimum of 11 and a maximum of 29 degrees Celsius, also with sunny weather conditions. Aranos can expect partly cloudy conditions with a minimum of 16 and a maximum of 26 degrees Celsius, while Mariental can also enjoy partly cloudy conditions with a minimum of 16 and a maximum of 28 degrees Celsius. Now it's time for the sports news with Ari Hohat.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with tennis news first. French Open, it is mostly second round games that's being played at the moment in Roland Garros in Paris, one of the majors of the year, men and women playing in the tournament. In the men's side of the draw, it's number 2 seed Alexander Zverev. He's safely through to the third round. He beat Thomas Mashav by 6-4, 6-2 and 6-2. And then also it was Novak Djokovic. He's also playing the tournament. He's the number 3 seed. He beat Valentin Roya by 6-3, 6-2, 6-7 and 6-3 to advance to the third round as well. In the women's side of the draw, it was number 8 seed Mira Andreeva that's through to the third round as well, beating Maria Bussels in 3 sets. And then 2 other highly seeded players, it's 15 seeded Marta Kostic and also Elina Svitolina. They both through to the third round in the French Open. And then it's also number 3 seed Iga Swiatek. She beat Simone Beljek by 6-2 and 6-3, and she's also through to the third round. Moving on to cricket news, it's IPL, the Indian Premier League, and it was an eliminator that was played, and it was the Rajasthan Royals that beat the Sunrisers Hyderabad. They beat them by 47 runs, and it was a big performance by Vaibhav Suryavanshi. He's just 15 years old, and he scored 97 runs off just 29 deliveries. He's an amazing cricketer, and it was the first Rajasthan Royals that scored 243 for the loss of 8 wickets in their 20 overs, and then the Sunrisers Hyderabad got 196 all out. So it is the Rajasthan Royals that will play on Friday. They will play against the Gujarat Titans. The winner of that game will play in the final on Sunday against the Royal Challengers Bangalore. Closing off today's international sports news, it is soccer news. It is a UEFA Conference League final. Crystal Palace beating Rayo Vallecano. They beat them by 1-0. It was in the second half, Philippe Mateta that scored the second half goal. So Crystal Palace win is the third English team to win this title in the past 5 years. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day. We'll talk international sport again tomorrow. Goodbye.
And with that, we have come to the end of the broadcast. Thank you for tuning in and catching up on the latest news with Sunset News. From me, Glenn Rashipura. Until next time.